And we are back at RoofCon 5 2023, Orange County Convention Center. I'm with my good friend Chris Hofstra and our other good friend Johny Wudel with Job Nimbus. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Great to be here.
Yeah, man. Fantastic. Are you enjoying the weather down here, or did you come straight to the convention?
So I got off the airplane. I was like, oh boy, it's humid and it's warm. We're not in the mountains anymore.
No, we are no longer there, Dorothy. That's for damn sure. So, Chris, give us a little backstory. We'll start with you.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. So, we've got a booth here at the behind the ToolBelt kind of mecca. Just talking to contractors about getting out of their truck and knocking doors. Right.
Nice.
Leads.
Yeah.
And the best way to solve that issue or that gap is to get out of your truck. So I'm just talking to contractors about what they're doing around job sites, what they're doing around appointments, and how we're creating systems and processes on a small scale. Like, what if you could hit 10 doors every appointment and you're in 2 appointments a day?
Love that.
Imagine what that flywheel looks like in a few months. So, we built an app that helps them track that, but ultimately we're just here to encourage, just like a lot of these vendors and coaches and all these guys here, like, how do you better yourself? How do you do something better than you did last year when you came to RoofCon, right? Hopefully this year they're knocking more doors than they did last year, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we're doing here.
I love
At
that.
RoofCon.
That's great, man. That's great. So Johny, why don't you explain to us like what you guys are doing for the contractors today, and then we can go back. We'll rewind a little bit and find out how you got into this space.
Yeah. So, if Chris and Lead Scout, if they're creating that lead, then Job Nimbus is taking that lead and kind of the full CRM platform that takes it through the whole experience, so that the roofing company can be efficient and organized, professional, manages their communication and all their project management, all the way to payments and modernized digital payments, kind of the whole suite.
Love that. I love that a lot. So, and that's kind of why I went in that order, because I figured, with Chris and how
Yes.
Job Nimbus itself could complement what Chris does, vice versa. So to rewind here a little bit, how did you become the COO? For those of you that don't know this, that Johny is the COO of Job Nimbus. So I'm super excited, and I've been bragging to everybody like, the COO that Job Nimbus is in our booth today. So for those of you that didn't know, this is Johny with Job Nimbus. So Johny, how did you get involved with Job Nimbus? Like, what kind of background do you have that would make you a good fit for the position that you're in today?
Yeah. So I have a background in business. I've never worked in roofing or construction before, but I've worked at a bunch of different companies creating great product experiences. And some of it outside of technology, and then most recently for a lot of years in technology. And I was at a different SaaS company building software as a service, and I got approached by Job Nimbus. This was a few years ago, and I was just so impressed with the team and with Ben, and the co-founder, but also who they were serving. And I love the fact that you're building software for roofing contractors, and when you make their day more efficient, that allows them to spend more time with their family. When you help them make more money, that means they're taking their family on a vacation that they couldn't have done otherwise. And I grew up with a dad who owned a small business, and that was the effect I saw. And so the mission of Job Nimbus is make contractors heroes. And I just really identified with that. Like, how can we help some of the salt of the earth, best people, kind of on the planet? How do we help them grow their businesses and be more effective and have fun doing it?
Get back their time.
Yeah.
I love that. And I hear so many people say that are coming into the roofing space. I think they get, not saying that you're insecure, but I heard you say one thing like, I'm not a roofer. I didn't come from the roofing space, but it's because of you and guys like you and gals that are coming into our space right now that's making the roofing industry what it is today. So don't feel the lack of, I'm not from the roofing industry or anything like that. We wouldn't be going where we're at today without smart people like you coming into our space. And right now, where the roofing industry is heading, where it is now and where it's heading, it's heading into a beautiful place, right? Like, so with the technology, like a CRM, like Job Nimbus, like Lead Scout, you guys are making it so much more efficient. And I liked how you said, so us contractors can spend more time with those that why we started doing what we're doing with those people. Like I started out roofing so I could provide for my family. Well, what happened is that was great, well and fine that my kids had new shoes, but I haven't seen my kids in 6 months. Right, basically.
You create the business so that you have control over your life, and then you become a slave to the company.
Yes, totally. I have been there, still there at times because I'll start new little ventures and stuff like that, but I've gotten better at it. So speaking of which, so a CRM, what stands out, right? What makes Job Nimbus stand out other than the other CRMs out there? Like what's something special that you guys do that or offer that's just a step above your worthy rivals?
Yeah. So one of the things is it's very customizable. So a lot of the feedback we hear and why people come to us is because everyone has a little bit different workflow. You have a little bit different flavor of how you want to run your business, what kind of information you want to key off of, and our system is very customizable. So you can build it like we'll tell you the best practice. We have kind of ways that we can set up out of the gate, but if you have things that you want to do, you can do it with Job.
Okay.
And you can make it flexible and customizable. We consider ourselves the engine, and then we have built a lot of components that go around the engine, and then we get great partners like a Lead Scout that can plug into that engine.
Okay.
And so we've built our own payments experience, and that was something that we felt like we could do a great job at building. And then we get partners to kind of complement, and we have a very open architecture, which not all of the CRMs in the roofing space do. And so people can, other vendors, other software providers can plug into us so that a roofing company can do everything they want to do through us and through other partners.
I love that.
We have a lot of users that are sending information to Job Nimbus, and Job Nimbus is sending us information. Now, today we don't have a bespoke integration or one that's direct, but we use Zapier and it works great.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so as far as
I want to answer that question for him because I got a chance to go to your headquarters last year. I was with you, Ty. Remember at Jen Silver's thing. And I thought you guys did something that I thought was really interesting. At the end of the event, you offered up your support people. You had 6 people come in the room, and the vibe I got wasn't like, hey, if you want to sign up for Job Nimbus, we have someone that can sign you up. But it was more like, if you have any needs or questions or having trouble with this or that, you guys had everybody had an iPad. And I think you'd probably agree the big thing is just the support, right? And just the attention that a contractor would get if they use a tool like Job Nimbus. I mean, you guys are definitely an industry leader when it comes to CRM. And I got to believe it is the customizability functionality, but it's also listen, if I'm going to have issues with the payment or whatever it is, I mean, Ty, you know this, right? You're running a CRM, a lot of it is take a manufacturer, for example, right? Yeah, GAF, OC, a lot of times it just comes down to the guy behind the name, right? John just takes really good care of me at GAF. Right? When I got an issue, he's there. He answers his phone. So I would definitely say I saw that in action when I was out in Utah at the end, where you guys just kind of came in listen, if you got issues, we're here to help solve those. So
yeah, for sure. I'm glad you brought that up because that is a huge part of how we view our business model is to provide that support. And that team, those folks it's called Genius Bar. So we refer to them as geniuses. And they have a full-time role in the company, either support or onboarding or something else. And then when we have events, and we host a lot of events in our office with our own customers, they come in as the geniuses and they help do whatever needs to be done.
Love it.
And one of those events 2 months ago, we had customers in, and one of our customers made the comment that the reason I love Job Nimbus, and we thought she was going to talk about, software features. She said it's because there's humans behind the software. And when she needs help, she gets help.
Love that.
And it's what you're saying. That meant a lot to us, is that we invest in that, and that's an important part of the experience.
Yeah. It's cool that somebody identified that, and I can second what Chris was saying. We got to experience and witness just the atmosphere at Job Nimbus. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever been any place where the vibe and the culture was so smooth and cool. Everybody treated us like they didn't even know who we were. We needed a private room to do a quick little podcast with Travis Harvego and Mike Goldenstein. And they went over and beyond to cater to us when we were interrupting a normal day of business. Here we're on holiday, basically, at a roofing conference that you guys are actually the venue for Gen Silver at, and everybody was just so cool in the atmosphere. There wasn't cubicles. It was kind of wide open space. The mountain, the view was just phenomenal. So I could see why you would want to go work for a company, first and foremost, not just because of what they're doing for our industry, but the culture. And that doesn't happen overnight. That happens from the top down, right? So you obviously must compliment Ben well, because Ben can't have his finger on the pulse of everything right now. And I know for me, like, everyone's like, "Oh, Ty, you got a great booth." Well, I didn't do a damn thing. I didn't run one single wire. It was the team and the camera guys and the lighting and Matt and everybody. Our families were here. We all pulled together, and it's like that needs to happen when Ben's back is turned. That needs to happen when Johnny's back is turned. But you guys set the example, obviously. So then when you guys are busy doing other things, that the culture and the message is being relayed exactly the same way when it was before you left or turned your back. That's the one thing that stood out to me more than anything. It was like, I would come work here. If I knew anything about technology, I'd come here to work.
Agree. I mean, it does start with Ben. He's done a great job, and it's part of what we talk to our customers about. And I actually talked earlier this morning in a breakout session about, roofing contractors should view it the same way. Like, you guys should run your businesses with a mission and value and creating a culture that people love to be at, because that seeps out into your customer and people feel it.
It really does. It really does. And we talk about that all the time. It's like if your team is like living in fear of, I don't know, making a mistake, making an error, there has to be room for error. And in that error, there would be a learning experience, right? So there's got to be space for vulnerability. There has to be trust built. And obviously there has been a lot of trust built there, because like you just touched on very, very little there is that your customer experience, that the experience that the customer has is a reflection of how they're treated at the organization that they work. I fully believe that wholeheartedly. And I know Chris and Joe and you guys are trying to build that same culture. And I know a lot of people that has came to our organization, this is the thing. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place here because I feel like I want to ask you so many questions, but I know we're limited on time here.
So I got to say leadership.
I love it.
You love it.
I love it. So when I go anywhere, I don't care if I'm going out to dinner, I watch how the employees, I hate the word employee, but I watch how the waitresses act. I watch how the managers act. Like I'm so into leadership and how people treat other people. Okay. So we want to build an organization that other organizations want to be like. Well, when we went out to Job Nimbus, I want to build an organization that Job Nimbus is like. I just wanted to put that out there and let you guys know that. And I feel ashamed when I busted that dude's balls earlier. I asked him if he had a CRM and he said no. And I said, shame on you, because you should be using Job Nimbus. I have 3 fingers pointing back at myself too. So I'm guilty of it. Yeah. So anyhow, Chris.
Love it. I love it.
Me too.
Well, I'd love to hear a little bit more, maybe just kind of like what the last 3, let's just go back to like 2019, which seems like a decade ago, but just kind of some of the changes you guys have seen. I know you have kind of refocused who your target audience is. You've really honed in on construction, residential construction, right? Roofing in particular. Yeah. And you got the new app. I say new, I don't actually know how long it's been out, but
it's been out about 18 months.
18 months. So just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, you go back to 2019 and Ben and his co-founders, they were bootstrapping business, right? Like they're using money out of their own pockets, mortgaging their homes, and they were getting traction. And they were just kind of like every startup does, just kind of throwing some stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. And they were obviously seeing like a lot of momentum. And then we had a partner come in that brought some investment, and they're truly a partner. Like they really are a thought partner with us, strategic, help us work through things. But that investment allowed us to take it to the next level. We went from having, I don't know, maybe 20 employees. Now we're at 200. And it allowed us to invest in the product massively. So, Chris, what you're referring to, we had an old mobile app that was just not built very well. It had like a 2-star rating in the App Store, just frustrating. And we just scrapped the whole thing and started over and built it from scratch. And our focus was, we had built Job Nimbus around production and project management, but the sales reps who were out there just, pounding the pavement, knocking the doors, putting in the work, they didn't have a great tool from Job Nimbus to help, because their data is kind of so critical as they interact with it back and forth. And so the mobile app was all designed for that, was to target that sales rep and to get them the value into Job Nimbus. And it's been incredible. Like we're 4.8 stars and climbing on both iOS and Android. And most importantly, just like creating value. And so that's one example. We've done a bunch of investment over the last 2 years in the product, built a whole new reporting suite, brought in texting, brought a lot of different features, payments I mentioned, all around making contractors heroes and providing value in their business.
Love it.
Let's talk a little bit about the financing and the payment aspect of it. When you say that, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So let me give you an example. I remodeled a house that my wife and I moved into about a year ago. And during that process, paying the contractor was the most difficult part of the whole thing. I had a contractor that asked me to put the final payment, $40,000, write it on a check and put it under my doormat. And I was like, well, first of all, I don't have checks. So I had to order checks from the bank. And then I put a $40,000 check under my doormat, and it stressed me out beyond belief. Every day going home from work, I would check to see if that was still under the doormat. And it was for like a week and a half. And I had to keep texting him of like, are you going to come pick this up? And finally he did. But that experience is not uncommon for homeowners. And what we've done is we've brought a digital experience that what homeowners are used to. They're consumers. They're used to paying for things by credit card, through text, through interactions that like every other company is doing. Now, these are larger transactions, right? So we have a payment solution that allows you to pay by ACH, pay by credit card. And we have text with the texting, you can text and get their, solicit their payment. And that kind of communication of soliciting payment increases collection rates significantly because people don't check email. They're not checking physical mail. They're on their phones texting. And so you got to meet them where they are. And that's with digital interactions and with texting.
Okay. So basically, if I was a homeowner, the contractor texts me a link and it's like a click to pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, is that integratable with like QuickBooks, or is that going straight to their bank account, or how does that all work?
Yeah. So we're integrated to QuickBooks, but it does deposit directly to their bank account. And yeah, the payment is recorded and it's all integrated in.
Okay. So it's just a link straight from the CRM itself. So if I was the contractor, I would send just the invoice straight to the homeowner and it's just a click to pay.
Yeah. Yep. And on the invoice, there is a button and they can click on it. And as the contractor, you can decide because of your credit card fee, right? This is why people click checks. They don't want to pay the credit card fee. You can choose to pass that on to the homeowner, or you can choose to just eat it and build it into your margins. So there's flexibility either way. Okay.
Let's talk about that. That leads me into another conversation. So with the estimating portion of this, and I know with the CRM that we use, it's kind of structured this way. So it's like the subtotal, 50% profit, 90% overhead, the sales commission, grand total. Explain to us how your estimate for your salesperson is designed.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean exactly?
I'm trying to envision, because I think where we struggle is like the way that it's built in, like the sales commission is built into the job. It was really difficult for us to explain to the salesperson exactly how much they were getting paid, because they were actually making a percentage off of what the hell was it? What's that? It wasn't gross profit. It was before, like their percentage was built into the cost of the job. So,
okay, you build in the margin of their commission.
Yes.
Okay, so we have functionality. It's called a markup slider.
Okay.
And so, there's some tools in our estimating that allow you to build in kind of whatever additional margin that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you pay 5% or whatever to your sales reps.
Yeah.
You can just slide that in the margin, and then it automatically changes the estimate. So that's one of the ways that people can go about that.
Give us some other examples.
Well, I mean, we have one of the things actually that we have commissions reporting. But as we talk about product improvements, like frankly, that's one of the things we want to improve, right? Like people can definitely do their reporting out on commissions, but it's not amazing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's important to us is like, when we're not great, we'll own it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talk to our customers and talk to the market and figure out what do they need, and we go build it. And full commission reporting, like really robust, is one of the things that that we want to add in the future.
Okay. Well, thank you for the honesty, because I don't think you're the only one that struggles with that either. I think that's why I wanted to ask you that question. Okay. Well, very cool. Is there anything else that you want to let our viewers or watchers know about, something in the future that's coming from Job Nimbus?
So there's a lot of talk about AI.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And there's things we're looking at, and there's some interesting stuff that we're talking about. Frankly, and I'm actually on a panel this afternoon talking about technology and AI, so I should probably be a little careful, but it's overhyped in a lot of respects. And there's still a ton of power to it, like for sure. There's also a lot of risks. But one of the things that like you can almost, so if AI is giving data to like a computer brain where they can think about things and kind of create things for you and take action, that's great. But there's automations, which it doesn't use the AI brain. It uses, you set up configurations of like conditions, and then it takes action for you.
Mm-hmm.
And people underestimate the power of automations. Like, yeah, AI is fine, but automations is where you should start.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not automating your business, you 100% should be. And that's part of what a CRM allows you to do. So, you can automate communication out to your homeowners and automate production updates. You can automate task creation for your own people. Like there are so many repetitive tasks that we do that either fall through the cracks or it just takes us a ton of time to do them. And automation, like it locks down your process, same process every time, and saves a ton of time. So instead of like thinking about in the cloud of AI, like first get automations in place, and then let's talk about AI.
Yeah. No.
So we use HubSpot for Lead Scout, and some of the automations that are available for us is if somebody fills out a web form, right, inquires to sign up, they'll get an automatic text message and an email, right, and we set that timing. What is Job Nimbus doing in the way of that kind of automation? If I could. Can you plug in a web form submission to where if they fill out that information, it's creating a record in Job Nimbus, so it's a lead, and then is Job Nimbus sending it, hey, thank you so much for filling out our form. Here's some information on TC Backer Construction. In the meantime, someone will be reaching out to you tomorrow morning unless you need to talk to us sooner. So, I'm thinking from a roofer's perspective here.
Yeah. I can actually walk you through one of our, we've got a lot of customers doing this, but there's one that I've just been like looking at recently that he's got a flow set up with Job Nimbus. And then we bought a company called Roofer Marketers earlier this year that does all the digital marketing. So, Lead Scout's got all of the pounding the pavement and, on the feet type of lead generation. And this is digital. So when a lead form is submitted, it comes automatically into the system and it generates an automatic phone call. And what happens is that automatic phone call calls the roofing contractor, and then they pick it up and then it connects them to the homeowner. And in 20 seconds from when that lead is submitted, they are now on the phone with the roofing contractor. That sales rep didn't have to like put down Post-it notes, didn't have to refresh like his lead page. It literally, the phone rang for him and boom, he's with the contractor.
Wow. And
And now he's closing the deal. And if they aren't able to get a hold of the contractor, then it automates the texts, the emails, and a drip sequence campaign. So it's pretty incredible. And this particular company, he bought the company a year ago. It was been around for a couple of decades, very automated, very manual, until this new entrepreneurial type young owner bought it. He's doubled his business in large part because of how he handles leads, but there's a lot of other things he's doing.
Sure.
But
And I'm guessing that guy wasn't a roofer, to Ty's point earlier,
he was not.
right?
He
So
had
that's
never
your
done.
point.
He like in college, he worked a little bit in construction, but he just came in as an entrepreneur.
New,
Kind
fresh
of a young guy.
perspective. Like,
Yep.
why don't we do it this way?
Yep.
Yeah. Why are we using tape measures up on the roof and falling off when we could do a hover
Yeah.
measurement?
100%.
No doubt. No
Yep.
doubt. Well, I think we should wrap it
Yeah.
up here. I mean, Johny, thank you so much.
Yes.
I know you're busier in hell. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
love
You
Job
bet.
Nimbus because of the culture, first and foremost, the customer service, which I forgot to plug that too, because I heard a story. I'm not going to mention it. Actually, I heard it twice from two other people, man. The customer service that you guys provide, you stand up to your word. Stand up company, stand up people, man. Thank you for coming on the show. Chris, always a pleasure
Thanks for
of
having
you
me.
being
Yes.
my co-host, whether you know or not,
Yeah.
he's my co-host now.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. Thank you for our viewers, our listeners, and everyone watching. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for
you.
having me on. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
You're
It's
welcome.
been great.